So you would take, you oil up an effleurage. Oil up an effleurage and do some nice effleurage. And like I said, the heat is going to do the work. The heat is really going to perform for you. So you don't need to think. You could do it within a deep tissue massage. Absolutely, you could do it within deep tissue massage. But this is really designed for, like I was saying, it's more of a luxurious treatment than a deep tissue massage treatment, but it definitely works. Who doesn't need trapezius and rhomboid work? Everybody does. So you can start just by sweeping from the top and down. And then the other side. Coming from the occipital ridge down towards the trapezius, and then across the rhomboid and across and across. Now, obviously on myself, I can't get down, but I would take it to the lower border of scapula. Okay, so I would be working with my stone. Gosh, I need a little, oh, I've got a little tiny piece of gua sha. How about this? So I would be working, how cool is this? The first time I've ever done this. This is great. Yes. So you'd be working down from the occipital ridge towards the acromion junction, but you want to be really careful because you don't want to get any stone on bone. So even when you're coming down, you want to stop before you get to the acromion junction or the spine of scapula. So it's a nice sweeping down, and then you want to come down to the rhomboid, and you can fit the stone right in between the rhomboid there. Oh, this is just like this is like my new best thing. And you can sweep across, and then you can take this pointier edge here, like that, and you can go sort of sweep up and down in between the rhomboid space like that. And you can do the way you use gua sha is you can do, there's different ways of working it. You can do, so let me just do it this way, that's better. Like a lift and pull, and so I'm just a lift and pull and a scrape, whatever you want to call it. But can you see that I'm lifting? Yeah, and I've got it sort of kind of on an angle. So can you see that it's on an angle? Excuse my cleavage here, so sorry. But can you see that it's on an angle? I mean, you can do it sort of straight on like that, but I think on an angle, it just feels better. And if you were to do that sort of on yourself, you can see what it's not is, we're not painting. So we're never doing like a painting. It's more of a scoop and a drag or a scrape on an angle. That's what we're doing here. It's almost like our cross fiber technique that we would do with our knuckles or with a stone or with a gua sha. Okay, can you see that? Now there's so going up and down the rhomboid here, if I was doing this, it would just be, you can do it sort of almost like you're rubbing out. And can you see my wrist is nice and soft and relaxed? So I'm not doing like that. That feels a bit scratchy pokey, but if you just soften, you get this nice sort of rubbing technique, like a rubber. So I would go up and down the rhomboid like that. But obviously you'd have this and you'd be working more like just a bigger piece, like a bigger, you'd be doing a little bit like that. So you'd be working here like this bit. You can get very on point, you can. And so if somebody's got adhesions on the medial border of scapula, I'll just go back to my mini piece, is that you can just do little circles along the medial border of scapula. And you can also do them in between the lateral, the transverse processes of the spine. And then you can do, you know, another sort of scooping. And then you can also pull across like that. So that's all the way you're working in between the rhomboid space. And that's that rhomboid space that gets us all. We can't reach it. It's really like, and then we're coming back to the top of the trapezius where I can take over. Thanks, darling. But and now I'm going to go, now this stone has lost its temperature. I'm going to switch it out and I'm going to get a hot one. Because when you've got a whole load of, it's tiny, tiny bit hot, I'm just going to dunk it for safety. Brilliant. Just going to blot it. So if in doubt, we dunk it. We don't mess around. We don't stand there going, oh, is it? Should it? Don't know, is it? Just dunk it and get on with it. And so here you've got these edges. This is nice, and this curved edge here works nice. Can you see that it contours? It contours nicely here. And then this 3 ridge, you could work up into the neck. Circular movements. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it. Circular movements. This feels nice to hold it because it's nice and large, and I can feel the heat of it. Your clients will love that, trust me. So why don't you grab a piece of your heated, let's get some oil on, and just let's do our neck, because we can reach our neck. So why don't we put a bit of oil on our necks and just do some sweeps, just come down with some sweeps. And so your client would, your client would be lying face down in the face hole. And so just a reminder, no stone on bone. So just to be careful that you don't clunk over the spine, the cervical spine, don't clunk over that. And only go out to the like the spine of scapula and the acromion process. This is the acromion process right at the end where the clavicle meets the spine of scapula. You've got this acromion junction here. And the acromion junction is very cringy if you go over it with a stone. So let's get a little bit of feedback on what you're thinking with the nice heat, just some sweeps here, even just as a starter. Lush. How do your stones feel just heated in water?
Not overly, not crazy warm.
No,
Yeah.
just warm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could definitely go hotter.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, well, then you need a bag.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the pattern, that was sold.
So cute. Do you know, I'm not a pink girly girl, but when I saw that and I was choosing, there's like 4 or 5 to choose from, I just thought, I'm definitely going to go pink.
Yeah.
Because I actually did, in its heyday, you can see it here in the background, I've got a couple of Cath Kidston bags.
Yes.
When Cath Kidston was really lovely, and then I sort of went off the boil a little bit, but when it was really lovely, I bought loads of Cath Kidston because I liked the oil cloth. Yeah, I loved it. And then I think I exhausted them. I think I exhausted myself because I bought too much. And then it sort of all went a bit sort of naff, and then it's folded.
Yeah.
So it's a shame, isn't it? Considering they were such a massive company.
Absolutely.
So that nice sweeping, and like I said, in between the rhomboid where we can't reach, unfortunately, on ourselves, we've got that possibility to scoop and come down, and then on point, up and down, that nice sort of scraping. So I urge you to practice that on somebody as soon as you can, just to get a feel for that. And I think there are other videos on my channel from about 3 years ago of me demonstrating that. I'll see if I can get my son. My son's quite good. He'll lie down for me and do a little bit of Gua Sha and show you and post some bits. But I think that's pretty clear, isn't it, with my new little
friend.
Right. So excited about this demo here. And then little circles as well. So little circles along the medial border and little circles between the transverse processes, and you work bilaterally. Amazing. And so when you've done that, and the face and the occipital ridge, lovely, you can take stones like right up into the occipital ridge. How nice is that? You can use that side, and you can flip it and use The point, so same as you,
That
Simone.
feels nice.
Yes, you can get right up there. Really nice and high up, little circles, good pressure, so you can feel on yourself the kind of pressure. So don't be shy with your pressure, because if you didn't put pressure on and you were just doing it kind of light, it doesn't have the same oomph and impact that actually if you press quite firm with it. So you want to be pressing firm enough that you're creating that pressure and that impact. Nice. And then you can just sort of come off, even try with the 3 ridges or the side or the edge of, so with this one, if I just demo this one for you, you could just come maybe this side off the neck, so you'd be coming off the neck. So from the midpoint of the cervical vertebrae, just coming out. That's nice as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's lovely.
If I just show you here, I'm just coming sort of using the curved edge, and I'm coming just from the occipital ridge, and I'm just coming out along the splenius capitis and scaly muscles. Because I think our neck just has a lot of, and usually we would be using our thumbs to do this. You can use your thumbs and your fingers as well, but then the harder edge of the stones makes such a difference. And if it's warm, it's a winner. Yeah, it's a real winner. Actually, cold here, when you've got chronic neck pain and you're in a lot of pain, cold feels fantastic here as well. We'll save the cold for the face for now, because I've got a right little congested spot right there on my neck. So if you do feel an adhesion, like a little clunky bit, you can go over and over it like a sort of repetitive combing, or you can do that little rubbing out bit, which I like the rubbing out, because it's almost like rubbing out the pain and getting rid of the pain. It's like backwards and forwards. So if you were to do this painting, that does nothing, this sort of thing. It's all right, it just doesn't really, that's not really gua sha. So even that, would you agree, has a bit of weight to it? Do you know what I mean? If you do 5 or 10 minutes just doing that, even, that's really delicious. And then we would turn over. I'm just going to move you out the way now. Make a little video with my skeleton leaf.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
All over it. It's my day, that. That has absolutely made my day. Let's get a bit of oil on our faces and do our face. So nice oils for the face. I'm sure that you've got some delicious oils, but if you, I mean, I make my own. I make all my own facial oils, seasonal facial oils. And I use, like apricot kernel oil, jojoba oil, rose hip seed, and tamano oil. And then this oil that I've got here has got rose, patchouli, frankincense, ylang ylang, geranium, and a little bit of sandalwood as well. It smells amazing.
Lovely.
It smells amazing. So I make all my own oils.
Can you use, at the moment, I'm using a massage cream, face massage cream. Does it clag the stones in any way?
No, because you wash the stones later. Just make sure you wash them properly now. Creams, as long as it doesn't absorb so readily into the skin that you've lost the slip. That's why the oils are so good, because you retain that nice movement and slip for the stones. And sometimes with creams, our skin absorbs them so readily that you lose the slip. But for now, for you, for this purpose, you can always put a bit more on.
Yeah.
And so, okay, we're going to begin with, right, so that definitely needs a little dunk. That's a little dunk right there. That one can go back in. I want to show you what I'm doing. If I just have that slightly there as well, so you can sort of see how I'm managing my bag. Yes, I've just dunked that stone. And so these are nice, perfect temperature, not too hot to handle, really good. And I'm going to begin by just starting from the jawline, doing a sweep down towards the thoracic ducts. So if you can improvise with whatever you've got, just so that you can get, and I'm recording this so that you can review this later. So I'm just clearing. So with the thoracic ducts, you want to create a sort of flow in the lymphatic system right to begin with. I'm just going to take from the midline as well and sweep out. How nice is that? I mean, when these are nice and hot, it really feels very special. Down again, and this just cleans. I'm staying away from the trachea here, and I'm just working almost from the base of my earlobe down towards the clavicle at the root of the neck where the thoracic ducts are, clearing the way for then some more sweeps. So now you can do this singularly. You can do this singularly, or you can do it doubles. It's absolutely fine. Now these stones are quite large to sort of have them doubles, but you can do them doubles, sweeping it down and then down and across. And again, what we're doing is, this is lymphatic drainage. It actually feels better. It does feel better with just one stone at a time. So I'm just going to do one side, starting from the midline, and I'm pulling sort of from the midline out towards these pre-auricular lymphatic nodes. We've got lymphatic nodes in front of the ear and behind the ear, and some around this area here. And so what we're doing is we're working to drain the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system picks up any excess tissue fluid that causes any sort of puffiness or any sort of stagnation or tension. Okay, so that's just the first job, is to get the lymphatic system nice and flowing for us. I'm going to switch sides. This is still warm, this stone. So I think this just feels nice to do one at a time. It's a little bit too hectic to have it both at the same time. It's not terrible, but I just think that this allows the brain to focus on just that. Do you know what I mean? Okay, amazing. And then we're going to sweep down. You can just do doubles on the thoracic duct. Now my stones here are beginning to lose temperature. They're beginning to lose temperature to the point where I'm going to put them back in the bag. So these are going back in the bag. And now I'm going to bring out 2 of these spoons. Okay, so my bag's on 60 degrees, but because the bag's been on now for 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, it's been on for 5 hours, my stones are hot. I'm just going to dunk them in and out of the water just to take that top heat off, because it is hot. They're still hot, but they're not too hot to handle now. They're really lovely. And I'm going to start, now with Gua Sha, you could start quite happily from the bottom or from the top. This is entirely up to you. Try one facial from the top and try one facial from the bottom and see what you think. Let's go from the top. And we're just going to come out from the center. Now these do feel nice bilaterally. This does feel nice bilaterally. You can do it singularly, but with this heat, and I'm sort of delivering it with kind of this much surface area. So it's not scraping like this. I am delivering it quite flat so that you're getting the heat. This is a slightly different technique to normal Gua Sha. And when we get to the cold, I'll show you a little bit more of what would be the traditional Gua Sha. But we're just delivering some heat. And we know that the benefits of heat, already you can see improved circulation. all the way down. Amazing. Good. So I'm just going to do another round of that. And again, just know and trust that you will be able to. You'd be working over the top, scooping. You'd be working, you'd actually be holding the stones like that. Not so much like that. You'd be holding them like this and pulling up and going back. So this is really working the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system, again, really helps to carry out any sort of, when we get stressed, stress causes inflammation as well. So if you're very stressed and you're frowning and it causes a lot of stagnation in the muscles and you lack blood flow, and that in turn just affects with the lymphatic flow as well. Okay, these are now lost their temperature. So because these have lost their temperature, we know that the heat has gone into my face. That's where it's gone. I mean, yes, it loses a bit of heat just through my hands, but it's delivered heat and I can feel that in my face. Okay, now what I'd like to show you is a little bit of, let me just see what I've put in here. Shelving, spoon shapes, sweeps, yeah, using fresh stones, gentle circular movements around the eyes, yeah. See, yeah. So yeah. Okay, so let's take a few. Let's take a little bit of the cold now and see how we get on with the cold. I'm going to bring out this stone. Now, the other thing that I could have said earlier when we were doing the trapezius is that you could, and the rhomboids, is that you could alternate hot and cold temperature there as well. So we'll backtrack on that afterwards, because that's interesting, because you could do hot, and then bring out some cold and just do a few sweeps of cold. It's a little bit shocking, but it's lovely. Let's start with a cold stone and do just like one round of a little bit of, oh my goodness, how wonderful is that after the hot, sorry. Are yours cold enough?
Mine is.
How fabulous.
I actually prefer it. I love the cold.
Yes.
That feels really nice.
Yes. Oh, so refreshing, isn't it? So now what we're having is the vasodilation, now we're having the vasoconstriction. So this is reducing the inflammation, pulling. It's also lifting and toning. So we could just do a little bit of scoops along the jawline, which you said earlier that you loved along the jaw. And then sweep down here as well. Let's go to the other side. And down here, the thoracic duct. Now you can either use a new tool, a fresh tool that's cold, or you can just begin with this edge here or this edge here. It's really, there's no like you've got to do that, otherwise it's wrong. Or you could switch out a tool. I'm going to bring on a different tool to do some of my contour and some of my, just to play. So you can either use the edge. And I'm going to start targeting areas that we like to target, that being the sort of the triangularis and depressor anguli oris and around the abicularis oris. So I'm going to be doing little flicks here. I'll slow it down in slow motion so you can see what I'm doing. And then
Is this with your edge, Anna? Are you using an edge?
I'm using
Oh.
that tool.
Oh, okay.
But,
Yeah.
but with your tool,
can
you
use
could
that.
use here.
Okay.
So you could do it like that.
Yeah.
Now you can see that I'm sort of anchoring, so it creates a bit of traction. It also gives another port of stability with your other hand. You can do it like this, but if you do it like this, sorry to be rude, but you sort of get a bit of a wobble.
Mm.
You do with my face, yeah.
Mine too. But if you pull an anchor, you're not. You're not. But you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
If you anchor and create a bit of traction, it just feels like you can stretch more. It gives that sort of traction and that pull and the anchoring. It creates a little bit of a contra action, if you like. Okay, and then so that's can you see that that's on me? Can you see that that's become quite red? That will go down.
Yeah.
But it means that it's really stimulated it. I'm going to do the other side. And so if I don't, you can see that it just wobbles if I don't anchor it. And here I just get a little bit more of a stability. Okay, amazing. And you can, with your stone, you can get underneath, above and below the jaw and contour and sculpt the jaw. That's what's good about these. That's what's a really nice thing. I might get one of those pieces because it's great for contouring. Let's see if this one will do it. It kind of does it, but not as good as the tool with a more steeped. And your lovely piece of Bayan stone that has the U curve in it, Paula. You know, you could be working along the that's what's so nice about having different tools, is because you can work with them. And also the tool like just 1 second. Well, like that, for example, that bit there as well, you can get to, so those of you with those tools, you can get up and above. This really contours along the jawline. Without that, you can go above and below it. You can pull down and then just go along the top of it. So essentially you're doing it in 2 actions. And that's the thing with this gua sha, is that you're just working really intuitively, because you're sculpting above and below the bone here to encourage the muscles below to relax and the muscles above to lift and tone. So you're going to be so careful about the trachea, but you can do a little bit of lifting underneath as well. With the cold is fantastic. So that's targeting the lower jaw and the jawline. Ooh, a right little sternocleidomastoid tension. Oh. So nice. But what are we up to? Okay, and then let's go to these nasolabial marionette lines. I'm going to switch out because this one, what I might do, I'm going to try a little hot and cold. So I've got a little tool here that looks a little bit like a knife, or you could use a spoon on the edge. And I'm going to do a little bit of hot here, and I'm little flicks, a little bit of hot and a little bit of cold. And the spoons are perfect as well. Oh my God. The spoons, your spoons are fab. Where's my spoon gone? Where are you? Where did you go? Oh, they're both in here. Yeah, so here.
The spoons are turned down, aren't they?
Like that.
Yeah.
So you're using the scrapey edge.
Yeah.
But you could do hot and cold. And this is what's special about this practice, is the alternating of hot and cold temperature causes a vascular pump. It sort of, it almost sort of sends the nervous system into a bit of a, oh, right, okay, what are we doing here? Okay, that's interesting. And although that's going to look a little bit red now, later, it'll be like, wow, that looks nice. Other side. And so if you're working on a client over the top, you would just perhaps just slightly, or here, whatever feels right, just to sort of give a little bit of a, and not so you like, but just just a nice gentle touch. It's also nice because if you've got one hand away, they might think that you're on Facebook or something. Like, where's her other hand? What is she doing? And so, you know,
that's a lunch ordering.
She on eBay?
She buying some more stones.
They think that about me. Right, that's going to go back on ice.
I'm surprised how nice the cold feels.
I love the cold.
Yeah. And the colder the better.
Yeah, I love it.
Can you also see with cold that it kind of has to be on point? Because if you were to come on with like a cold, like
yeah,
a little bit too much. So you just want to have it like always just on edge or on point. And then when you're used to it, because cold, if you had your spoons or 2 pieces of cold, you know, working actually on the smooth edge, just lifting, you're delivering cold. So it's not necessarily about the gua sha. That would be a different application, and that's scraping. That's the gua sha. But this is a little bit more, and you could do this with jade wands as well. If I show you that, which is what I, you know, in my facial rejuvenation.
That's lovely.
You can do the wands like this, because what you're doing is just applying cold to the face. So you could do all the gua sha, you could do all the scraping and all these flicking flicks and lifts, and then apply a little bit of cold just to get that nice lift and toned feeling. And let's not forget that we can do a little bit of, you know, work just with your hands, just to sort of end and finish with a touch. Because let's face it, the touch is the boss, in my opinion. You can't go wrong with just, you know, a nice sweep of your hands as well. Okay, let's move. So we've done sort of this area here, the depressor anguli oris, and then on top lip, you would use either a spoon or a focused tool, an edge, and just go along the top. Now, again, so people with lines, it feels nice to have the little bit of a scrape. It's not going to cure it, it's not going to disappear them, but it's going to stimulate.
Are you going backwards and forwards on the skin, Anna, or do you lift off?
If I do it really slowly, you'll see it's like a lift.
Fine.
Yeah, so it's not that.
Yeah, it's just one.
You could do that, but I think that this is better, like little flips.
Yeah.
Just feels like a little bit better. I mean, there's certain areas like the masseter muscle. Let's talk about the masseter muscle next. If you're a clencher, who said that they were a clencher or a grinder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're a clencher or a grinder. So if you clench and clench now, you can find this masseter muscle here that you could do a rubbing, like a backwards and forwards in both directions. Actually, that feels better up and down like that. Can you feel that? And then you can take your point, and when you clench your jaw, find the highest point of the masseter. You know you've got it because it feels like a dull ache. Yeah, right there. And then just place your stone on it. Oh my God. This is an acupoint called stomach 6. And stomach 6 releases jaw tension and neck tension. So over the top, you would be doing it more like, you know, over the top. But like I said to you earlier, trust that you'll be able to do this. It might take a couple of practices just to make sure that you're over the top and getting it right. And either whether it's good in your left hand or whether it's good in your right hand or how you're going to work it. Clench your jaw, ask your client to clench your jaw. Find the highest point of the masseter. And then just press. My dogs are just coming home. And then a little bit of a soothe. Oh, yeah. Now, when you do some work like that, it might be worth us just revisiting with one of these hot stones that will come, mine's come back at temperature now, just to drain it towards the lymphatics, because it could have released some impurity. Hello. Could have released a little. Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you, darling. It could have released a little bit of impurity, any sort of toxin, metabolic waste, and then we want to improve and send that to the lymphatic system. So we might do another sweep along towards the auricular nodes and then down again. And that way we're clearing any sort of metabolic waste. Hello, darling. Hello, sweetie. And down. And then you're just getting another lot of heat. And then we will do another bit of cold because we want to finish everything on cold in a bit. Okay, that's going to go back in. And I'm going to bring out another hot. So this is heated up again. And I'm just going to sweep underneath. So we're going to come up to under the eye, just nice little sweeps. Either one side and then the other. So yours is probably not as hot as from the bag because the bag's heated them all up again. And now I'm just going to get some cold. So the hot will have really brought like vasodilation, brought the blood flow. And now I'm going to get this tool and I'm going to do a sort of a nice pumping action. I'm going to press very lightly and pump. And that comes towards the lymphatics. Little pump. So if you had a stone like this, you would just pump and pump. Nice. And this is cold now. This is cold. You could use your spoon, just pump. This is it's like eyeball. It's as hard as you would do your eyeball. If you had your spoon, Rachel, that's perfect. Or the, yeah, that's a nice tool that you've got there. Which one are you using? Let me just put you. Just need to have a little look at you if you don't mind. Yeah, yeah, perfect. So yeah, this pumping action is nice for lymphatics. It's like a press and pull and pump and pump and pump. It's really nice. It's a lymphatic drainage move. Other side. Pump. It's like a press and a pump. Great for drainage under the eyes. Should have done one side at a time, but can you see actually that this side's a bit more lifted than this side? Keep going. Cold is so good under the eyes. I think the ice, my ice pack has almost lost a bit of its cool now. So I think you know, you'd either need to sort of refresh your eye. If you had a long day of it, you'd have to refresh ice packs over lunchtime, maybe just whack them in the freezer again. Okay, so that's underneath the eyes. Under the eyes is really important for a lot of people, including myself, but can you see the improvement there? Even just, and the thing about this is that one go of this isn't going to miraculously make you look like you haven't got bags under your eyes, but it's certainly going to help and lift. To the side of the wrinkles or crow's feet here, little, but here I am rubbing, like the rubbing out, not flicks. Here's rubbing. Nice. And here the side. Nice. And then I love above and below the brow. So when I do facial acupuncture, there's some great points underneath the brow here. So you could, I'm going to angle this here and I'm going to go underneath the brow. You can do little, oh God, that is so good. Little scrapes underneath, and then you can do like one little sweep. Oh my God, it's actually quite painful today. But this is great for lifting the brow, lifting the lids. And then I'm going to go just on top of the brow. And here, even on top of the brow, you could either do little flicks or you can do little circles. Oh God, yeah. And then here where we frown, I'm going to like rub backwards and forwards. So if someone has put Botox, they've ticked Botox, just go a little lighter. Just go a little lighter. But if they haven't, then you can be quite firm here. It's not going to dissolve or dislodge Botox after 2 weeks. It's really not. Little scrubs, like little backwards and forwards. So I've got an actual indentation here because of my stigmatism. Squinting. And then I'm going to go above. So you can either start below or start above. I think as long as you do above and below, little circles. Oh, so good. Right there. And then I'm just going to flip the tool. And then you just work with what tools you've got. So if you've got like a spoon or an end of this is just, oh God, in fact, that's better. £2. £2.
Where were they from, Anna?
The Amazon or eBay, actually eBay. Chinese, I think I put Chinese soup spoons in, and then mini Chinese soup spoons, and it was like 2 for $5.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm all over it. And then I've got larger ones. I've got like bigger for the body, because here's the thing, in China they use spoons. That's what it originally was. The original gua sha was this. And you know, and we would do all the scraping. They would do all the scraping with a spoon, and it is perfect. It's the best one. And then, you know, all these fabulous things came along and charging extortionate amounts for it. And actually, they use jar lids and soup spoons.
I read that, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Yeah, so the soup spoons with a jar lid is the original authentic way of doing gua sha. And then I was like, I just love the spoons that I was looking, and I put in spoons. And these little mini ones. So you're on a winner. They're ahead of the curve, your people. Really? Okay, so we've done all around the eyes now. Really important area. Let's do the forehead. And I'm going to go back to heat. I'm going to go back to my hot stones because I can, and because of the bag. And I'm going to just sort of come up. Nice, nice and hot. These are lovely and hot. Better that way. Better that way. Oh, can you imagine lying on a table and having that done really slowly? You can feel that actually slower is better. You'd be like, oh my God, can I have that like for an hour, please? So hopefully our clients are going to come flooding back, because let's go to one side, because everyone loves this, don't they?
Yeah.
We love this, and we've got to tell people that they love it in case they've forgotten. But this, for me, this is quite special. And here's the thing, ladies, is that I don't think there's anybody doing this at the moment. When I wrote this and when I thought about it, I was writing it all, I was like jumping for joy. I thought, I don't think anybody's doing this. It's so wicked to share this. So excited. Nice. Now here, I mean, you know, if people, you know, if they're very heavily or frowned, you can do little. If you've got that stuff, like the one that you've got with a bit of serrated, not so much with the, well, it's not bad with that actually. No, it's not bad. Like a gentle little serrated movement up. Or just like, yeah, just a little, just give something a little bit different. And then you could, you know, you could rake through the hair as well if you wanted to. I love right in the hairline. There's lots of acupoints right in the hairline. You do little circles right in the hairline. There's bladder meridian, gallbladder meridian, governing vessel, conception vessel, all lying in the hairline. You can just go a tiny weeny bit in, like, you know, up into the hairline, or you can feel them. You can kind of feel them. Can you feel that? It almost little tiny weeny bit painful, but lovely. Nice. Good, good. Okay. So I'm going to go back to another hot one. I'm just going to do a little bit more sweeping. So you definitely see that with the ability to have these heated on demand, this is as hot as you, or hotter than the start. So we're back to lovely hot stones here. And I'm just doing a little bit more sweeping. And then I'm just going to work around the nodes as well here, little circles around the nodes. I'm going to go behind my ears, there's nodes here. And sweep down. So there's also acupoints and nodes in front and behind the ear. Nice. It's just a lovely thing as well, isn't it? Just heated, like hot stone behind the ear is really lovely. Really, really nice. And sweep down. Okay. So I'm going to go back to, now I've got mushrooms here, and I'm going to, I like the mushrooms, they're really nice. I'm going to start just a little touch with my hands first before I go on. I don't want my cold to be the first thing that goes. So you can almost like hover underneath your whiskers and then coming on with the cold. Oh, that is cold, but it feels fantastic. So this is the last bit now, finishing on the cold. There's one little move actually that we didn't do that I usually teach. Let me just show you that as well. Just contouring round like Resorius round here. Let me just show you that. With the variety. So after you've done the nasolabial marionette lines before you go to the under, you can contour around Resorius under the zygomatic, so you can just come out. Sorry, yeah, we need to do that bit as well. Yeah. So yeah, or this one. Yeah, really nice. It just helps with, and then you could do masseter. You basically want the face to relax. We want the face to relax and everything, because people just look more radiant, don't they? When your face is relaxed and toned with the cold, we look more radiant. And like I said, if you could come back and just do a sort of almost like an invigorating move up as well. This is more like a lifting and toning, so not lymphatic. This is just more of a cold lift, lift and lift. You want to be finishing on the cold. So you could do a relaxing cold and then a sort of lifting and invigorating cold.
Oh, I think I've got a delivery. Sorry, I'll just go on to mute.
Yes. And then once you've done all the lifting and finishing with the cold finally, you would then do several effleurages. Difficult to do on ourselves in the way that we do it, but you would do a lot of effleurage just to finish. I think the manual massage really is the boss. And these are just like the priestesses and the priests and the emperors, but the boss, the big boss, the wizard. Yeah, perfect. So we were just finishing off, Simone, with manual massage. We were just saying that the manual massage at the end is just as important.
Okay.
And to be lavish, to really sort of expend lots of time doing that. Because that just that last element of touch on your client, doing nice effleurages, you could even do some lifts and flicks, whatever you wanted to. You could incorporate that in as well. So just to re-emphasize and to revisit doing the trapezius and rhomboid, you can do hot and cold. So these two work in tandem together. So you could do hot, hot, loads of hot, loads of hot, two of those, 2 rounds of hot, and then finish on a cold, and then turn your client over. I think that would be the best way to go. And then you'd have 2 other hots ready to go for the opening sweep of the face. I'm just going to turn my bag off. It's been on quite a long time.
It actually feels lovely from all that cold on
Yeah,
it.
it does, doesn't it? It feels
Yeah.
refreshing.
So let me just,
Yeah.
I'm going to pause. Yeah. So working with acupoints is not going to cause such a strong reaction. You know, I've done a lot of facial acupressure and facial acupuncture, and you know, the causes that there's not going to be such a huge reaction that you're going to have to be dealing with that, especially with facial acupressure. We're not going to be pressing for long. It's not going to be like minutes. It's going to be more seconds. And what I would encourage you to use is the end of one of the spoons. So this tool is really good. So the tool that you've got as well, Rachel, that jade one with the tip of it on it, yes. And so you could use a jade wand. There's also these tools. Where's the little? There's these little tools as well. But you could also use that. So anything that has a precision tool on it, anything that has a point is absolutely fine. But these are nice because they've been heated. So we're going to start with, and nice to have 2 if you can. Yeah. Look. Where are you? Here. Yeah. We're going to start with number 1. And so these do have, this is on the governing vessel. You don't need to learn them off by heart, but we're just going to hold it. Not even, I'm not even going to do circles. I'm just going to hold it actually. Just seeing what it was like having the heat of circles, but I just think the heat is fine. Second corner of the mouth, almost sort of on the end of the marionette line. Hello, Woofer. Oh. And then either side of the nasal groove, large intestine 20.
What's number 2, please? What pressure point is that?
1 second. I don't know if that has exactly an acupoint. Oh yeah, hang on a second, I'll tell you. It's stomach. 1 second. Stomach 4.
Thank you.
Yeah, stomach 4. So this one is called the conception vessel.
Yeah.
24. Conception vessel 24. And then stomach 4. And then this is large intestine 20. And then you're going to come, this is the one that we were doing, it's sort of, just 1 second. It's a little high, just 1 second. I'm going to say that this one is stomach. I think that this one's good for stomach 6. So you're going to come down towards the masseter here. So this one, and then just come down a little bit for this is stomach 6. And then this one here is gallbladder 2. And that's just in front of the tragus, but just below it. So in like the temporomandibular joint.
Yeah.
That's gallbladder 2. Six, this is called yin tang. yin tang. Yeah. And over the top here, these are this number 7 is bladder 2. This is called bladder 2 at the medial border of here, medial border. And then these points here, these are extra points. This is an extra point here, extra point 6. It's got a name, but I can't remember it right at this very moment. But it's right in the middle of the brow. And these are all good for like sinus and headache points. And then there's one right at the end of the brow. And that's called triple heater or Sanjiao 23. Sanjiao 23 or triple heater or triple warmer or triple burner, whatever the book is, 23. And then number 10 here, this is what's that one? Governing vessel 14. Governing vessel 14. Sorry, not governing, gallbladder. I'm so sorry. Gallbladder 14. I'm so sorry. Gallbladder 14. Gallbladder 14. And then this one here is governing vessel 24. Yeah. Okay. So the only thing is that some of the points might feel, sorry, there's a lorry outside. Some of them might feel tender. You know, they do feel tender. They feel a little bit like a bruise, or they feel a little bit achy. And, you know, they can make you feel, they could make you feel tired, if anything. They can make you feel tired. They can make you feel dehydrated, because what this is doing, it's circulating qi and circulating blood. So sometimes when your qi is boosted and your qi is working, it can make you feel a little bit thirsty. I can actually feel myself, I'm thirsty. It can make you feel a little bit thirsty, and possibly you could be a bit tired. Like, you know, your client might be yawning, or afterward be like, ooh. Because these are all points that, you know, like large intestine 20, the gallbladder, the bladder, gallbladder, Sanjiao, these are all the beginning and the end of the channels. So it's a little bit like just like the beginning of the road or the end of the road. And they can have quite strong impacts on the whole channel. So, you know, a little bit like EFT, when you do your tapping, when we're doing tapping on these points here, we are stimulating the beginning of the meridian points, and we're changing the energetics of the channel and moving qi through the channel. So these points are brilliant. You can do 1 round, 2 round, 3 rounds. It's up to you. You could do a whole round and then return and start again. You could hold them for longer, or you could do just 1 simple round. But I would hold it for, I think, just under 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about, you know, up to 10 seconds, anything between 7 and 10 seconds. 1, 2, yeah. So if it's 10 seconds, you're looking at, you know, like 2 minutes for a full round of it. What are you shouting about? So don't worry about causing a reaction with you're not going to cause a reaction. The only thing you're going to do is benefit your client. That's all you're going to do. You're benefiting them by stimulating the acupoints where the chi pools. So it's like cleaning out a pond at the beginning of a stream. Do you know what I mean? So if you clean out, if the pond at the beginning of the stream is really, really murky and stagnant and horrid, the stream doesn't flow as well unless it was like all cleaned and all the rocks are cleared away and everything's clear. And so by stimulating acupoints, you're almost clearing the way for energy and fluids to flow. I'm just going to grab a glass of water. Just one second. It's on the recording for you, just to review. We're going to go with number 1, which is conception vessel 24. At the sides here, stomach 4. Large intestine 20. Small intestine 18, just under the zygomatic. Gallbladder 2, just at the TMJ. Yin Tang, number 6, third eye. Bladder 2, just on the medial border of the brow. This is an extra point. Also good for the raising the lids. And Sanjiao 23, triple heater 23. Gallbladder 14, in line with the pupil and just up straight in the midpoint of the forehead. And then governing vessel 24 at the top. Sorry, I'm just going to put the principles of alternating hot and cold temperature is more beneficial than doing the whole thing all in cold,
Okay.
or the whole thing all in hot, or 90% hot and 10% cold is all right. But what you've discovered is that you like the cold, so you might want to do 50-50, seeing as you think the cold is so good. And you might have a client that sits there and goes, I don't like cold on my face at all. I've had that cold on my face before and I hate it.
Yeah.
In which case you'd crank up the heat, and maybe just at the end, you'd do like just a little bit around the eyes with cold, just a little refreshing.
They're always going to be cold. Yeah.
But I think personally, if you can do a little bit of both in an intuitive way that works for you. So I don't want you to get fixated on the routine. The routine's there to give you a guideline in case you just end here and you just go, I can't remember anything we've done, or I can't remember any of it. And this just sort of gives you an interpretation of, and even the sort of putting 8 times. Who counts in facials? I mean, I never count. I never count ever. So, I think that these structures are kind of cool just to give you the confidence and a bit of refreshment if you don't do anything until April the 12th. And you go, God, I can't remember what we did. Then you can read through that and you go, oh, God, yeah, I like that. Yeah, got that. Yeah, let's go. And then don't look at this and just do your facial. I think it's important to get the principles of draining and nice drainage and getting the heat on. So get the heat on, get the heat, drain and get the heat on. And then you want to do some precision work, perhaps with the heat. And then do a little precision work with the cold as well. So do another round of it with cold. Then do some hot pressure points and then do some cold pressure points. And then do some more hot drainage. And then do some cold, then do another hot, and then do another cold. It's good to finish on cold. That's the principle at the end of it, a little bit like a cold plunge at the end.
Yeah.
And when you come out of the sea, or that you come out of a cold and then you get yourself dry, you actually feel more invigorated and enlivened.
Yeah.
So the golden rule of all of this, if you're going to incorporate cold, is to finish on cold.
Okay.
Yeah. And play. And then every facial might be slightly different, because you might have someone who goes, oh, and you might have someone who goes, oh, I love that cold, and then you can just keep going with the cold.
Yeah.
And you might have someone go, oh, I don't like that. Oh, God, no, don't put that cold on. Everybody's different, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you might have somebody with very sort of flushed skin where you do 70% cold and only 30% hot, because they might really need the cold. And don't forget, the cold is lifting and toning. How fabulous does my skin look?
It does. Do you know, I was thinking that it looks really fresh.
Yeah. And yours too, but I just noticed, yeah, you all look very uplifted and glow. But you get that radiance with the hot and cold temperature, because it doesn't leave you hot and flustered and flushed, and it actually leaves you radiant. And then you've got your fabulous products on top of it. So things like your serums, your oils, your products will add to it as well. And anything else that you do. If you work with a derma rollers work well with this. You know, you can incorporate different aspects to it. Just be careful actually with the heat in the derma roller, actually. Derma roller and heat. Maybe not. But things like your serums and your products, I mean, just get the best that you've got on the face as well. And don't forget that really underneath the eye, don't forget that it's a pumping action. And again, can you see the improvement of my under eye? Can you see that? I definitely can. And it's a pumping, it's a very light sort of pump. You can do a little bit of sweeps and a little bit of scoops. You can do a little scoops and little sweeps, that's fine. But the pumping action is the one under here. And you can do hot and cold. Because what you want to do is really drain the excess tissue fluid here. And the best way to do that is with these little sort of pumping movements like that. How great is the spoons? You're all going to go spoon shopping, I know.
Yeah.
They're so pretty as well.
Yeah. They look very clean, don't they?
Yeah, nice. Oh, what a bonus find for you, Simone.
Yeah.
But it's a nice angle on that.
I'm very envious of all your tools, because you've all got fabulous tools. And yeah, I mean, it's a big.
Well, I know you're going to get these now.
They're great. Are they wands, aren't they?
Do you know what? These, they hold the cold so beautifully. Right. They're really nice.
Yeah, marbles cold even without chilling it.
Yeah.
And then you chill it, and then you have a really good quality chill. Yeah, and they're nice and chunky, aren't they?
Yeah.
So with those, you can use them on end, on point, and you can do some nice lifts on the flats of them.
Someone with rosacea, I take it you wouldn't.
Not with the heat.
It'd be too much, yeah. But even the cold may be too much, wouldn't it?
You could, you could use cold, but not so cold.
Yeah, perhaps just stay around the eye.
Not icy cold. But yeah, I mean, I would just be very, very mindful of rosacea, and maybe take their lead. They might say, no, I like cold on my face.
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Or they might say, don't. I'm very, very sensitive.
Well, I know some people they've got to look at something and they flare up, don't they? It's
yeah. But I did have a student with rosacea, and she loved it. She loved the gua sha. She loved the cold. We didn't use the heat, because this is the first time I've used heat. But we do always chill stones. Even when I teach gua sha, we chill the stones. And she definitely came out, but she put a lot of cold on, and it was nice for her.
Okay. So individual, okay.
But just, I mean, and again, not freezing, biting cold, but just almost just take them out of the ice and just leave them on the side.
Okay. Thank you.
Rachel, how did you find that?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I get a lot of like sinus pain and headaches, and I feel like my skin's almost like all tingling in that area. And I could feel a headache coming on before, but it's kind of gone now, which is great.
Yes. Yeah, that is really good for headaches and sinus and those points. Like I said, there's no sort of neg reactions. The only thing you're going to do is good. So these points, like the large intestine 20 and bladder 2 and all along the brow, these are great for headaches and sinus congestion. So this one and the yin tang, of course. So the whole sort of across the brow, up and below the brow, great for sinus and cold. The cold is great because it's going to reduce any sort of vascular inflammation that causes migraine or headache. Cool. Well, I'm going to just pause this.